Hi, Gabe here, West Coast SCI Physiotherapy. Today we're going to do a series of thoracic spine mobility exercises. Thank you, Jan, on Instagram for giving us that shout out and suggestion. So the thoracic spine mobility is important to help keep things limber. We spend a lot of the day sitting at desks, most of us, and therefore our thoracic spine gets quite stiff. Keeping it loose and limber will help with pain alleviation, posture, and for overall health. T-spine side flexions. So we'll start by crossing your hands over your chest. And for this movement, we want to stay in that frontal plane. So what I'll start with is leaning to one side. So I'm trying to bend my body all the way over to one side as far as I can. And then come back to straight. And then all the way over to the other. So again, I'm trying to really focus on staying in this frontal plane, meaning that I'm not bending forward, I'm not bending back. I'm kind of keeping that neutral middle ground. Again, keeping the arms across your chest will help target the T-spine itself. And again, you want to go over as far as you feel you can and not necessarily hold it because we're doing mobility exercises here, not necessarily stretching. And hopefully you'll feel that movement happening from that mid to upper back. And we'll go 4 or 5 times back and forth, depending on how that feels. As always, pain limitation will be your indicator to stop or to not push too far. And I'll go one more time to the left. Good. T-spine rotation. So again, crossing the hands over my chest. And this time we're rotating. Important to be sitting for this one because if you stand, a lot of the movements will be coming from your hips. So again, in a sitting position, sitting nice and tall, nice and straight, twisting my body towards one side as far as I can, trying not to lift your buttocks off the chair, and then same to the other side. You're going as far as you feel you can. Some people, like myself, may feel you go a little farther on one side. That's just an indication that you're less mobile on one direction and something to think about and to work on. Again, pain is something to be aware of. If it hurts, obviously don't force it. If it hurts as you do more repetitions, then just back off on how many repetitions you do. As you can see, my elbows are up away from my body. That will just help you allow better, greater movement. I call this one T-spine circles. So again, in a sitting position, hands across my chest, elbows up in the air. And what I'll do is basically try to make big circles with my arms and therefore my T-spines. So I kind of arch backwards, bring my elbows up, and then bring them down through. So almost like I'm drawing a circle or following the arms of a clock, and trying to get that whole rotation and side bend all happening at the same time in one smooth movement. As I do this, my head and my neck will follow. So that movement through the upper spine or the cervical spine is also a good idea. And again, I'm trying not to lift my buttocks off the floor or off the chair, sorry. And I'll do maybe 3 to 5 on one direction and then we'll go ahead and switch. So again, I'm trying to get to those extreme movements all the way around into each area of that circle, trying to make a symmetrical circle if possible. But if you're noticing pain or discomfort in any of those positions, you can adjust the direction or the angle of your circle to avoid certain discomfort or painful areas. And eventually you'll try to kind of push into them if possible as the pain subsides. Breathing, of course, really important. And again, doing this from a seated position to allow that movement to happen through your thoracic or T-spine and not from your hips. Okay, this exercise is called Jefferson curls. It's kind of like thinking about doing a sloppy forward flexion or forward bend. So I kind of start by thinking my head's gonna move first and then all the way down to my tail. So I start with my neck, curl it down, and as I curl my head down, I curl my shoulder blades down and my mid back, low back, and then down through my tailbone. So like I said, it's kind of like a sloppy bend. And then from the bottom part, you're going to try to do the reverse. So starting from the tailbone, straighten out into the mid back, into the shoulder area, and then into my neck. So what I try to really think again is one segment at a time, slowly bending down, curling forward, reaching down towards my toes, allowing each segment of my back to bend, and then doing the reverse of that, starting from the bottom of the spine and then working all the way to the top. If you feel this is not really giving you much of a stretch, what you could do is hold a bit of a weight. I like to hold kettlebells usually when I do this, but a dumbbell or even a bar could work, starting light of course with maybe 10 pounds and then increasing that weight slowly. And actually you can get pretty heavy over time and with some practice. Another way you could get a little bit further down is when you're weighted and holding weight, to stand up on a platform or on a stool, and that will allow your hands to go a little bit below your feet. And especially when you're weighted, you'll get a little bit further bend at the bottom. So this is allowing a lot of mobility through the bending and the extension or flexion and extension of that T-spine, but also the rest of the segments of your back, which is really healthy. Cat and cow or cat and camel. Again, this exercise works all three segments of your back and not just the T-spine, but it's a great exercise for the T-spine. What I'll start is with my head, and I'll tuck my head underneath my arms. As I do that, I'm going to push up my shoulders, and also I'm going to tuck my tail or tailbone underneath. Opposite to that, I'm going to stick out my buttocks, let my stomach fall down, let my shoulders fall down, and then look up. So again, I'm trying to think about moving each of the segments of my back one at a time as I curl through the different postures of the spine, tucking your tail here at the end, and then sticking out the buttocks, dropping through your chest and your shoulders, and raising your head. So again, if you're noticing any of these areas causing discomfort or pain, not pushing through the extreme of those areas and just focusing more on those areas that are moving better. But over time, you're going to try to think about trying to get everything moving well and to the farthest extent as possible. Again, because these are mobility exercises, we're not necessarily holding any one position, but slowly moving through each one. I'll do one last here. Good.
Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments if you have any suggestions for future videos. If you enjoyed what you saw, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.